For the next few minutes, I want you to look at money in a completely different way. Most people believe their salary is the key to financial security. But what if the system was actually designed to keep you comfortable enough to work, yet never wealthy enough to escape? Let me introduce you to someone very typical. Her name is Sarah. She is 34 years old and earns $85,000 per year. On paper, that places her in the top 20% of earners in her country. If you looked only at Sarah's salary, you might assume she feels financially secure. After all, $85,000 sounds like a very comfortable income compared to the national average. Sarah gets paid every 2 weeks. Before taxes, each paycheck is about $3,200. That number sounds impressive when you first hear it, but after taxes and deductions, the number drops significantly. Her real take-home paycheck becomes about $2,450. And the best part? And this is where the system becomes interesting. Sarah doesn't receive her money and calmly decide how to use it. Instead, her income gets divided into multiple obligations almost immediately. Her paycheck doesn't arrive as a pool of freedom. It arrives already fragmented into responsibilities that quietly claim pieces of it before she even has time to think. The first expense is housing. Sarah pays about $1,200 every 2 weeks in rent and housing costs. That single payment consumes nearly half of her take-home income. Next come groceries and occasional meals outside the home. Even when Sarah is careful, these basic living costs average about $400 every pay period. Transportation is another major category. Car payments, insurance, and fuel easily add up to around $550 every 2 weeks. Then there are the invisible digital costs. Phone plans, internet service, and multiple subscriptions together quietly remove another $120 from her paycheck. Utilities add even more pressure. Electricity, water, and other household services cost around $140 every pay cycle. When we add all these expenses together, Sarah has already committed more than $2,400 from her paycheck. After all these obligations are paid, Sarah is left with about $48 for the next 2 weeks. And here is the strange part. Sarah doesn't feel completely broke. She has a home, a car, and a normal lifestyle. The system gives her just enough comfort to stop asking deeper questions. The system doesn't feel like a trap because everything leaves your bank account in small pieces. A payment here, a bill there, another subscription later. Your brain never experiences the full loss all at once, so it never fully realizes how little progress you are actually making. When money comes in as one large number and leaves in many small payments, your mind struggles to track the true reality of your finances. You feel like you're managing your life responsibly, but in reality, you are simply staying in the same place. This is what economists sometimes describe as financial stagnation. You are not falling behind dramatically, but you are also not moving forward in any meaningful way. You are simply running in place while the system continues operating around you. The trap usually begins long before your first paycheck. Society teaches you that the path to financial success starts with education. You study hard, earn your degree, and believe that a good job will solve everything. For many people, education also comes with student loans. That means before your career even begins, part of your future income is already promised to someone else. Eventually, you find a job and receive your first real salary. Maybe it's $60,000 per year, maybe more. It feels exciting and promising, like the beginning of a financially secure future. But almost immediately, something subtle happens. As your income increases, your lifestyle begins to expand to match it. You upgrade your apartment because you can finally afford something nicer. You also upgrade your car. Instead of the older vehicle you drove before, you now choose something newer and more comfortable because your new salary seems to justify it. This process is known as lifestyle inflation. As your salary grows, your expenses quietly rise with it until they absorb almost every dollar you earn. Each improvement feels like progress. A nicer apartment, a better car, maybe a few more conveniences. But every upgrade also tightens your dependence on your income. This is what many people describe as golden handcuffs. The lifestyle looks attractive and comfortable, but it quietly removes your ability to step away from your job. Once your expenses depend on your salary, quitting your job becomes extremely difficult. You are no longer working only because you want to, but because your financial obligations require it. The surprising truth is that increasing your salary does not automatically increase your freedom. If your expenses rise at the same speed as your income, nothing truly changes. From the outside, your life may look successful, but financially, You are running on a treadmill that requires constant effort just to stay in the same place. The real question is not how much money you earn. The real question is how much of that money actually stays with you long enough to build wealth. When your income increases, most people assume their financial situation automatically improves. But what usually happens instead is that expenses grow at the exact same speed as the new income, quietly absorbing the extra money before it has a chance to build wealth. After receiving a raise, many people upgrade their lifestyle almost immediately. A nicer apartment feels justified because the higher salary makes the monthly payment seem manageable. But this new cost becomes permanent. The same pattern often appears with transportation. Instead of keeping the same car, people upgrade to a newer or more expensive vehicle because their new income makes the payment feel affordable. Over time, this pattern becomes predictable. Each increase in salary is followed by an increase in lifestyle costs. The gap between income and expenses remains extremely small. What feels like financial progress is often just a tightening system of obligations. Every upgrade adds another payment that depends on your salary continuing exactly as it is. At this stage, many professionals realize that their entire lifestyle depends on maintaining their current job. Mortgage payments, car payments, and everyday costs all rely on the same paycheck. This dependence creates a powerful psychological effect. Even if someone dislikes their job, leaving becomes extremely difficult because the financial consequences feel too risky. That is why the term golden handcuffs exists. The lifestyle looks attractive from the outside, but the obligations attached to it quietly remove your freedom. Every month becomes a predictable cycle of payments and obligations. Rent, loans, subscriptions, and daily expenses form a structure that requires constant income to maintain. When income and expenses remain nearly equal, something important disappears. The space where wealth could have grown never truly exists. Let me introduce you to another example. My friend David worked in the technology industry and earned a strong six-figure salary. From the outside, David appeared successful. He had a great career, a comfortable home, and the lifestyle many people dream about. David had purchased a $400,000 house with a large mortgage that required steady monthly payments. Along with the house came other commitments. 2 car payments, insurance, and everyday living costs filled his monthly budget. David also wanted the best opportunities for his children, so he chose private school. Tuition added another major financial responsibility to his life. Soon, David's life became organized around payment dates. Mortgage due, car loan due, tuition payment due, insurance due. Every month followed the same predictable pattern where money entered his account and immediately left again through different obligations. One day, David received what most people would consider great news. His company offered him a promotion along with a $20,000 raise. It looked like the kind of opportunity that should finally reduce financial pressure. At first, David felt relief. A higher salary meant more money, and more money should mean less stress. He believed this promotion would finally give him more financial breathing room. But something subtle happened over the next year. As David's salary increased, new expenses appeared almost automatically. His lifestyle slowly adjusted to absorb the additional income. The house required small upgrades, his child needed braces, and eventually he replaced one of the cars with a newer model because repairs were becoming inconvenient. After all these changes, something surprising happened. Even though David was earning more money than ever before, his financial stress remained almost exactly the same. His income had increased, but his obligations had increased at nearly the same speed. The extra money simply disappeared into a more expensive version of the same life. This is why someone earning $30,000 per year and someone earning $300,000 can experience similar levels of financial pressure. As income rises, expenses often expand to catch it. Without careful planning, the gap between income and spending never grows large enough to build real wealth. This situation creates what many people call golden handcuffs. The lifestyle looks attractive, comfortable, and successful, but leaving the job that supports it becomes extremely difficult. When your expenses depend completely on your paycheck, the freedom to make bold decisions disappears. Changing careers or leaving a job suddenly feels dangerous. Starting a business, taking time off, or exploring new opportunities becomes much harder when your financial obligations require steady income every month. At that point, your money already belongs to other people before you even receive it. Rent, loans, subscriptions, and everyday expenses claim most of it immediately. Your landlord receives their payment, the bank receives theirs, the car company receives theirs. Each one benefits from your continued dependence on your salary. And that is the uncomfortable truth behind the salary trap. The system works best when people depend entirely on their paycheck because dependence creates predictability. At this point, many people begin living what appears to be a stable life, but in reality, they are only 1 or 2 paychecks away from serious financial trouble. The structure looks secure, but the foundation is extremely fragile. When your financial life depends entirely on the next paycheck arriving exactly on time, every delay or unexpected event becomes a potential crisis. The paycheck arrives, and for a brief moment, there is a sense of relief. But that relief quickly disappears as bills begin claiming their portion of the money. Mortgage payments, rent, car loans, subscriptions, groceries, and utilities all quietly take their share. Within days, most of the paycheck has already been assigned somewhere else. The result is that many professionals with strong incomes still end up saving almost nothing at the end of each month. When savings are close to zero, the paycheck becomes the single pillar supporting the entire structure of your financial life. Now imagine something uncomfortable. Imagine you decided to leave your job tomorrow, not in a year, not after planning, but tomorrow. How many months could you continue paying your expenses without receiving another paycheck? For a surprising number of professionals, the honest answer is less than 1 month. That means a single missed paycheck could trigger a chain reaction of financial stress. Studies consistently show that more than 60% of professionals could not maintain their lifestyle for more than 1 month without income. From the outside, this life looks comfortable. Nice apartment, reliable car, modern devices, but financially it functions more like a very comfortable prison. The paycheck becomes the key that keeps the door closed. As long as it arrives, everything continues normally. But the moment that paycheck stops, the entire system begins to collapse because nothing else is supporting it. This is the moment when many people begin realizing something important. Income and wealth are not the same thing. A high salary may look impressive, but if every dollar immediately leaves your account, you are not building wealth. You are simply maintaining motion inside the salary system. One of the biggest financial misunderstandings is confusing income with wealth. Income is the money you earn from your job. Wealth is the money that continues working for you even when you are not actively working. A salary is temporary. The moment you stop working, the income stops. Wealth works differently because it continues generating value even when your attention is somewhere else. Savings are often the first step toward breaking the salary trap. Even a small financial buffer begins to change how you think about money and risk. The most powerful financial concept is surprisingly simple. Wealth begins growing the moment your income becomes larger than your expenses. Every dollar that remains after your expenses becomes a tool. That tool can either disappear through consumption or it can be used to build assets. Assets are things that produce value or income over time. Investments, businesses, and productive resources slowly begin working on your behalf. Liabilities, on the other hand, move money away from you. Loans, payments, and unnecessary expenses slowly reduce your financial flexibility. At first, the difference between assets and expenses may appear small, but over time, the gap grows wider and begins to change your financial future. Once someone builds 3 to 6 months of savings, something interesting begins to happen psychologically. The fear of losing a job starts to decrease. Financial decisions become less stressful because survival no longer depends on the next paycheck. With savings, people negotiate differently. They ask for better opportunities because they know they can survive without immediate income. This financial breathing room creates optionality. Optionality means having the ability to choose different paths instead of being forced into one. The ultimate goal is not simply earning more money. The real goal is reducing the amount of income you need in order to live. When your expenses are low and your assets begin producing income, the salary trap slowly starts to lose its power. Breaking free from the salary trap does not happen overnight. It begins with awareness. The moment you understand how the system works, you can start building a life that is not completely dependent on a paycheck. The first step toward escaping the salary trap is awareness. Most people never question the system they operate inside. They assume working harder automatically leads to financial freedom. But understanding how money flows is often more powerful than simply earning more. When you begin observing where your money goes, patterns become visible. Small expenses, automatic payments, and lifestyle habits slowly reveal the true structure of your financial life. Once you clearly see the difference between income and expenses, you can begin creating space between them. That space is where financial freedom eventually begins. Creating a simple financial plan may not look exciting, but it is one of the most powerful actions you can take. Planning gives your money direction instead of letting it disappear automatically. Saving money is not about deprivation. It is about building a financial buffer that allows you to make decisions based on opportunity instead of fear. At first, progress may feel slow. Saving small amounts each month may not appear significant, but consistency over time creates powerful financial momentum. This is where compound growth begins working quietly in the background. Small investments gradually grow larger as time multiplies their effect. Investments allow your money to work even when you are not actively working. This shift transforms money from something you spend into something that produces value. As assets grow, something interesting happens. The dependence on your paycheck begins to slowly decrease. When your financial life includes savings and investments, income from work becomes only one piece of your financial structure. This is when optionality begins to appear. Optionality means you can make decisions without fear controlling every outcome. Instead of asking how to survive the next month, you start asking better questions about how to design your future. At this stage, the difference between income and wealth becomes obvious. Income pays for today, wealth protects your future. Savings provide stability. They allow you to remain calm during financial uncertainty. Investments create growth. They allow your financial resources to expand over time. Together, these elements begin forming the foundation of financial independence. The salary trap loses its power the moment your life no longer depends entirely on the next paycheck. Freedom rarely arrives suddenly. Instead, it appears gradually as your financial resilience increases. Over years of discipline and awareness, small changes compound into meaningful financial stability. Financial freedom is not about luxury or extreme wealth. It is about having control over your time and your decisions. When money stops controlling your choices, you gain the most valuable asset of all, autonomy. Time becomes the true currency of life once financial pressure begins to fade. Opportunities that once seemed risky now become realistic options. And that is the real goal of building wealth. Creating a life where your choices are guided by purpose rather than financial pressure. The salary trap works because most people never examine the system behind their financial habits. But once you understand how the system operates, you can begin designing a different financial path. The people who escape the salary trap are not necessarily smarter, they simply become aware earlier. Awareness transforms your relationship with money because it reveals that many financial habits are choices rather than unavoidable realities. If this explanation helped you see money differently, consider subscribing. Understanding the psychology and systems behind wealth is one of the most powerful steps toward real financial freedom.